Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's live session on local SEO domination with myself and Mr. Randy, the news guy, whose link is below. He is also sponsor of the channel, so do check out Randy's news service using the link below. A great deliverable for your clients and great for your overall SEO. So if you want brand awareness links, referring domain count increased, all of that good stuff, then Randy is your man. But you've got like this dot in your head, Randy.
I know, I do that green screen in the back, and for whatever reason, if I had hair, I'm sure it wouldn't be there. It's like the weirdest thing. Like, how does my one spot? I really have no idea. I know it's kind of bizarre.
Is it a bump in your head?
No, that's the whole thing. Like, regardless, right? I could just move around. It's just like picking up off of my bald head. What I should do is just wear a hat that says the news guy, right? And
that could help.
That's what I probably should do.
Jeez.
How was your Father's Day?
Good. So I went out for dinner. I just traveled back from Spain yesterday. So I was also traveling, so I was tired, but I get taken out for dinner and stuff like that. So I enjoyed it, but I was also groggy at the same time.
Yeah.
You know how it is when you're traveling; you just can't be bothered. But
I do.
Muzzy is saying your head needs more oil. I agree, Darren. I'm with you.
So funny. Yeah, I'm sporting my new shirt.
Number one dad.
Yeah. So it's official. I'm the number one dad.
You printed that off yourself. People do that thing, don't they?
I know. I went, my son and I have this tradition of camping on Father's Day weekend. And so we've done this since he was 2 years old. We used to just go out in the backyard for an overnight, and now we do much bigger deals. But we got back late, like about 5 o'clock yesterday, and my daughter gave me this T-shirt. So I'm like, great, nice.
And showing it off today. That's what we want.
Yeah, I told her I'd wear it today, make her, she felt good. So yeah, my 16-year-old daughter has decided that if she can't take a shower and put on her makeup, then she doesn't want to go camping. That's the way it is at the moment, but who knows, years, maybe a few years, she'll be okay with it.
Yeah.
She used to go with us.
They go through that certain phase, don't they?
Oh my gosh. It's all stages, right? Yes.
Yeah.
That's what you need. You need a daughter. Daughters are amazing.
I don't think, I'm sure they are, but I don't think my patience and stuff like that would be a good fit for having a daughter and all those creepy men out there. So I don't think it would be a good fit. So I'm glad I've not got that.
Oh, yeah. That's something.
But there we have it. But we're talking local SEO domination today, Randy.
Yeah.
So everyone out there and their uncle is doing local SEO of some guys. And so guys, if you do have questions, you want to talk about local SEO, let us know what direction you want us to go in or ask any questions in the chat. Otherwise, we will continue to chat at you. But this can work both ways. We can help. So you can ask questions. We don't know what you don't know. So questions are always useful. But where do we start, Randy?
Yeah, I know. So, I threw this out here as a topic for us to kick around. I'll start and I'll throw out a thing and just say, okay, Google business profile, right? So if you're a local business, I would say it's like the very first thing you need to do is be sure that you create your Google business profile so that you can get in that highly coveted map pack, right? Because I always still throw this stat around, and it may have changed, but this is from a few years ago, but it was something like 43% of like the search term traffic, like if I was like plumber near me or local plumber, and it's going to show up in the map pack, that like 43% of all clicks was going to come through that map pack, those three listings that are in that map pack. So it's like, man, you got to get in there.
Yeah.
The only way you can do it is, first step, create the GBP, right? So I hate to be so fundamental, but that really is the critical piece.
You don't even need a website to create the GBP. That's the great
Yeah.
thing. Before you do anything, get that fucking thing moving. I had a guy in for training today, and he's like, "What's the first thing you do when starting out a website? Brand new from scratch. Blah 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 blah. What is the easiest route to money?" And I'm like, GBP. Go there, get some local traffic, and then obviously expand your radius and make a website, add local landing pages, blah 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 blah. And he's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yep, that's it. You don't even need a fucking website. Just start generating calls and leads, depending on what you do, of course, through that."
And these, and that's a critical thing. I always got to remind even my staff is like, listen, our clients, our local clients, they just want to get calls. They want to get leads. They want people coming into their business, right? And so whatever we can do, that's the ultimate goal. And that's how they're going to measure success, our success for them. So if their phones are ringing and people are walking in the door, then they're going to be happy. It doesn't matter if they rank for this in number 1 or number 5. Like, they just want the phone to ring. And that GBP is like got to be the first step.
Yeah.
And I just saw you. Didn't you just release a video? Was it last week about GBP verifications?
Yeah. So I've got a playlist on there that's been released, and that particular section is about GBPs. And obviously, since I last done a GBP video, things have massively changed. So I thought that's one area where even a video 6 months ago, 9 months ago, it's somewhat different from what it would be now. So just trying to keep the content up to date, and done some videos on that. And obviously the verification process for right now is a little bit easier again. But how long will that last? Who knows? So,
I don't know. Well, I mentioned that video for a couple of different reasons. One, because it's the topic right now, right? And we're talking about GBPs. But you walk through the whole process for anybody that doesn't have one. So if it's kind of new to anybody, like, hey, go on to Craig's playlist on his channel. You can find this video he just put out last week, and kind of get help on how to walk through. The other thing is, I think if I recall right, you actually had the easy verification of the GBP in the video. And the look on your face, the look on your face was like, like, hey, it got verified already.
So to give some context around that video, I was initially going to show how easy it was, Randy, to get that to work like that. So I had to record that particular video 6-7 times, and it wasn't pinging like that. So I thought, fuck it, I'm going to do the walkthrough slightly different. So I changed the narrative and said, here's a walkthrough, how to do it, blah, 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 blah. And lo and behold, it fucking auto approved. And I'm like, what? Why do this to me? So I was caught off guard.
The look in your face when it came up, okay, you're verified. I was like, hey.
I was trying to make a slick video saying, here's how you do it. And I tried it multiple times. The fucker wasn't auto approving. So I changed the narrative and everything off the video, and it fucking auto approves. Just my luck. But hey, it was good.
It was good drama. Yeah, it was good TV. I will tell you though, for those folks who are more experienced and are really like pumping out like lead gen sites or any of that stuff, and you need a GBP, man, now is the time to go digging, because what was it, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago? I have a bunch of lead gen sites that I didn't have GBPs for. And then somebody in our group was like, hey, boom, it seemed to be easy. I went through and built out GBPs for all 5 of them. Like,
Yeah.
got just the email verification. Boom.
Now is the time. You can't emphasize that enough.
No, I know. Because
So
who the hell knows? Like, Google, maybe it's like stuff is just like an autopilot right now, just for
yeah.
verification. I have no idea. But
It,
I'm like, go do it, because it will change. And so go tag it now while you can.
well, I was going to say, I can guarantee you one thing: it will fucking change back to where
Yeah.
it's a real pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So that is a fact. How it's so easy just now, I will never know.
I don't know either. And I will say, I know somebody, Victoria in our group was like, had been struggling. She's like trying to get them and not having success. And I don't know why, but I mean, I'm doing stuff that was like just simple, like even a very fresh Gmail, not using their workspaces address, not doing anything, just like going and creating essentially a brand name Gmail to go for the verification. I don't know. I wasn't doing anything,
Yeah,
you know, of any hoops, and I was just getting the email verifications. Like, great, boom, let's do another one.
maybe she's overcomplicating it. That's the thing. She might be doing this whole bunch of weird rigmarole that she's been told previously.
Yeah,
And she's not just fucking doing the simple things. And
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
she was asking me, well, should I build citations to it beforehand? I'm like, no, I didn't do anything. I just like, hey, I'm going to try this and see if it works. And boom. I was kind of like you, kind of the, wow, the shocked look, right?
Yeah.
Um,
You're just
so
like,
now let's talk. So now the thing is approved. Do you have a video coming out, or have you released, I didn't notice yet, where you're talking about optimizing that GBP profile?
I think there will be a video coming out on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not released all of the videos from that particular. I've got like 70 videos to come out. I'm just trying to drip feed them out one a day. So yeah, there will be a video for that, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot more videos coming out from me. So just keep
Yeah.
an eye on everything that comes out.
All right. So GBP profiles, obviously you have to claim it first, what we just talked about, get it verified, and then go in and fill the thing out. So critical pieces. This is critical in my mind. And then I have a question for you. Obviously, you got to get the address, phone number, all of that. You do that when you're filling the thing out. I think a description, critical, well optimized description of your business, good keywords thrown in there. I like to put in some geo modifiers in there as well. So if you're talking about your specific neighborhood or suburb or city, but that description is very critical. Being sure as well that the category that you're being listed under is like spot on. And this is a trick. Well, this is what I do, is a trick that somebody had schooled me on, which is, go look at the competitors that you have in your neighborhood or your city for, your niche, and look and see what they are. The guys who are ranking in number 1, 2, 3, who are in that map pack for that term, look and see what they have labeled themselves as their category. And then that's what I just repeat. I'm like, okay, great. I'm not going to overthink it. Like, hey, if Craig is ranking for number 1 in the map pack and his category is SEO, well, shit, I'm going to do that. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just do what your competition are doing. It's not fucking
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's a question for you that I always wonder. So say you're a services business, right? We'll just say plumbing as an example. Do you complete and optimize either the services section or the product section of your GBP, or you do both?
Both.
You do both.
Yeah. I just think when it comes to a GBP, there's limited amounts of things you can optimize. So why not optimize for both?
Yeah.
You know, you just want to push everything you possibly can on there. And I think doing one over another, you're missing a trick, really. But you know, if you've got the ability to stuff in there, including the GBP images and stuff, and potentially optimizing those, I would go on and do. So I think with anything, we're SEO, we optimize shit. And I think you're missing a trick by not optimizing everything you possibly can in places like a GBP where you are fairly limited in terms of what you can throw on there. So I think you need to fill out everything you can. And yeah, so hopefully that answers that. And again, even the timing, I thought you were going to ask me, what times do you put in? Is it just Monday to Friday, 9 to 5? You know, people believe that when your business shuts down, for business, your GBP doesn't show. Is that a myth? Is it not? You know, if I'm taking inquiries 24/7 through my contact form, as far as I'm concerned, my business is 24/7. I think most businesses would be the same. But whether your business goes down after 5 at night and someone who's open later stays up, not sure if that's a myth or not. I've not seen any evidence of that happen, but
I've heard that though as well from folks that have said, like, well, if you're plumbers and you're looking for a local plumber, on your GBP, if it says that your business closes at 5 o'clock and then somebody is searching for that term at 8 o'clock at night, that your listing is not going to get served up because right, it's beyond your open hours. I just put 24/7. I just say we're 24/7 every day of the week on those, because you just want to. I don't know if that closure thing is right or wrong, but I didn't want to screw around with it. I'm like, no, give me the lead. Let them call. They get a voicemail. Oh well, right? But yeah,
you get a call back anyway. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. You brought up images. So I have a question for you on images when you're optimizing. What do you think about, like, there's a lot of things you can do for optimizing images.
Yep.
I will use the phrase optimizing because here's the question. Do you think some of that stuff even still works? Like, you used to be able to, like, put a geotag, in images and do all kinds of stuff, right? To images before you upload it. Do you think that it has any impact? Do you do any of that stuff when you're doing GBPs?
So I do believe that shit works. I do believe Google are looking at that information. So, and Slurry is a perfect example of why I believe this works. If a GMB or GBP,
I know I have the hardest time, like,
that's still a GMB to me.
Exactly.
But we'll call it that. If images have been uploaded, so let's say I'm in holiday and we're talking about McDonald's and I'm in Portugal and I'm at the local McDonald's and I upload a picture, is Google going to look at the geotagging element of it, or are they going to accept Randy from Ohio uploading to a McDonald's in Portugal? Are they going to look at that data? And I think it for me, and it might not be, obviously I can't say yes or no, but I know guys like Slurry and stuff, are big on that, and they fully believe that geotagging images is an important thing. In the same way, when they're doing anything with their GBP, they would want to be in that location outside that GMB, close to it, when they start to do things. Do Google look at the location of where you're at and all that kind of stuff? And I do believe it does. So I just think I would be looking to add all of that kind of stuff to it. And obviously, when you say optimize, obviously you can do that. You can obviously add text over images and various other and bobs, keywords over images, call it what you like. And I think you've just got to get the mix of all of that kind of stuff in there. And do I do it to my own. I don't need to do that level to my own because it's relatively uncompetitive. But I think it really comes down to the who you're up against. If someone's doing all of that kind of stuff to theirs, then I think you've got to follow suit. Whereas, for the likes of SEO in Glasgow and stuff, no one's going to that level. So I don't really need to do that all those amounts of times. But I think Google would look at that, to be honest. Because there's ropey people out there in the SEO space who are literally uploading a fuck ton of images, and they're not even in that fucking location, which is disgusting. But it works, so I think you just have to go to that extra level.
I love how you say, like, well, I don't need to do it anymore, which I understand what you're talking. But every time I kind of hear somebody say something like that, then I'm always reminded of Ted Kabitis, and when he's like, just minimum SEO minimum, right? So like, just because you can and do always on everything doesn't mean you need to, right? So in your sense, like, listen, it's not all that competitive. I can, put images up and do some stuff, but I don't need to go through the multiple hoops to do all of the geotagging and do all of some of this other exafile, kind of input in there, because I don't need to, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, hey, the minimum SEO, I'm just putting images up and it's associated with my brand or on my GBP. But for somebody, if like you're trying to rank a map for a dental office in Chicago, that's going to be incredibly competitive. You got to jump through the hoops.
It's, why spend time and effort and money on something that you don't need to?
If it's not necessary. Yeah, absolutely. But so know your market, know what you got to roll through. I wanted to ask you on a follow-up about the services and products piece. So, because in both of those, you can put a button and then link out. So are you using, so say back to our plumber example, is the content duplicate services and products, or is it slightly different? And then are you just linking out on the product? On the services section makes sense, right? So services, toilet repair, boom, and you're going to link out to your toilet repair page on your site. What do you do under product? Do you link out to your toilet repair page under products, even though it's not a product that you're selling? Toilet repair.
I mean, you have to use a bit of common sense here. Products are supposed to be for products. It's not supposed to have another fucking service in there. So to answer your first question, do you want to make both of those different? I would say yes. Services like toilet repair or fucking leaky tap or whatever it might be are all services. Products should be slightly different, or for me, in my example, could be a course. It could be anything. Should I hook that up there where I possibly can? Yes. Is it a viable product? Yes. And that type of thing is what I would try and do. Now, that may be hard for some businesses, but I would suggest that you probably need to make something up, whether it be a free quote or whatever. Is that still a product? You can argue it is. If you just start slapping toilet repair and stuff like that in there, and it's a product, it's not. It's a service. So, I think that's where you can potentially, if somehow that flags up to Google and that looks spammy as fuck, and someone's looking at it, are they going to wipe you out? So the answer would be yes. If not, you shouldn't be filling out products when you don't have products. Supposed to, but somehow you can twist it or somehow make something a product, if you get what I mean. Like, for example, a course or even a free course or whatever it may be, Randy, it's still a fucking product. Or my mastermind is still a product, and stuff like that. So the likes of you as well, your press release is a product, and you also do other different types of services. So I would try my best to mix it all up and try and make something, if Google do so happen to look at it. The problem is there's a lot of people out there who will grass on you If anyone doesn't know what grass means, like snitch on you or whatever, if your competitor sees that you've got a whole bunch of products that are services, can they report that shit? Yeah, and it can potentially get you flagged up for a review and stuff. So
And people do that shit. I know it.
I mean, I'm not going to say any names here, but we've got a friend. The person's in the group, and they've done a whole bunch of other locations where they're not actually physically present. And some low life local guy in one of the particular areas is reporting all the time, saying this guy's not in this building.
Right.
There's just this constant fighting and verification, and then it gets suspended and all this kind of stuff just because someone's like, nah, this guy's not here. And
Yeah.
rightfully or wrongfully, you can agree that he isn't actually physically in that location, but there's people out there that just they just don't want to see others do well.
I know it. My camera's acting up on me. I gotta figure out what the deal is with it. There we go. All right, here on the GBP, the real question.
Mm-hmm.
Posts or updates, as it's called in the profile. What's your theory on that? Do you post daily, a few times a week, a few times a month, or you just say, it makes no difference, they have no impact?
I don't believe they have any impact, but I still post twice a week on it. Just for the sheer hell of it. Obviously, in your business knowledge panel, Randy, not your knowledge panel, but your business knowledge panel,
Right.
it does show updates on there, so it makes you look active. So I do it more if someone was to Google my name and my business profile comes up, then it makes me look like I'm active. Whereas if I had last posted something 3 years ago, people are going to look at that and go, is that fucker still in business? So I do it more from that point of view. I also think freshness of content is a thing, whether it be a website, whether it be an Instagram profile or a Twitter profile. And I think that also relays over to the GBP profile. I think just adding something, just let people know you're still there. I think it's just good practice to do it. Does it make a difference? Does it do anything for me? The answer is no. I can't really figure out, if there's any real benefit to doing that other than the benefits I've just explained. So I know guys that don't update shit and nothing happens. So again, for me, I just think I look at it from a slightly bigger angle and saying, I want to still look as if I'm there. And, if there is a small amount of traffic, even if it's another 5 people or 10 people, then so be it. If I'm on a webinar or whatever it may be like this, I'll slap it out on, all of my social media, my GBP post and everything else. And that's me updated and done my job for the week. So I do that twice a week on a Monday and a Wednesday for this and the session with Chris Palmer. So yeah, you've got to feed it something. That's just my outlook on it.
Yeah, I agree. I set in, this is probably, it's probably longer than what I think. It's probably 2 years ago. But it was one of these, SEMrush used to do these various kind of webinars that bring people on. They talk, you probably have been the guest on some of those panelists, and they talk about a particular topic. And this, optimizing GBPs and performance was one of their topics that they had. So I'm like, that's interesting. I wanted to hear some thoughts on that. And there was some good discussion between folks that were like, and across the spectrum, some guys like, it doesn't work. Here's tests, and he was showing, I did this site we posted 7 days a week for 60 days. This over here, we did, once a month. And there was no difference in any kind of movements on anything, is what he was trying to demonstrate. And his position was, no, it really doesn't matter. Other guys are like, no, it does. And we're like arguing. I'm kind of with you. I think that I don't know if it does or doesn't, but I do it. We do it as a practice once a week on the GBPs, precisely for what you just said. I just wanted to show activity, that we're engaging, that we're putting content up. And so when people do go, that it's always something a little bit new, possibly. So, yeah, I don't know. I tend to believe it really doesn't have an impact, but
it really doesn't. You can post 5 times. I've seen all the myths again. Post, every day, whatever. It never done anything for me. I tried it, didn't do anything to me either way.
Yeah.
And I just ran out of ideas on what to post. It's like Instagram and everything. People say got to post four reels a day and 3 posts a day, and what the fuck am I going to post all day every day?
There's a ton of content.
And that's just on Instagram before you do LinkedIn and whatever else you're supposed to do on there. You can't fucking do it all. It's insanity.
Yeah.
I've not got something to say all day, every day. You sometimes if you're away on holidays or whatever, trips, you've got a bit more content. But yeah, it's madness. And Himikria, hopefully I said that right. Hello, and obviously TV and Darren. But
yeah, hey, by the way, folks, if you got questions on local marketing, SEO Domination, hit them up in the chat there for us. We'll get to them, or anything as well on your mind. Hey, let me hit you up on this: reviews and reputation, right? So there was a certain kind of thought, Darren, that once you get to a certain amount of reviews, now this just speaking SEO aspect, for ranking purposes, but once you hit a certain threshold, and the number that ticks off in my head was like 30, you got to get to like 30 reviews. But once you got over 30, it really didn't matter from a ranking standpoint, that you could have 200 versus 30. You'll see on the map pack that, it kind of didn't matter. What are your thoughts about that?
I don't think reviews are all that. I've seen guys with a small amount of reviews outrank someone with 200. I've seen that for sure. I've never seen someone with no reviews do it, mind you. So there probably is some kind of theory in that.
Like a minimum, right? Like you got to have a minimum number of reviews to.
Again, if you want to be a legit business, you're always going to have a minimum amount of reviews anyway. And something out there. I've seen it. Where people say reviews are the be all and end all. That's not true. I've seen people with a small amount of reviews be, absolutely trash someone that has 300, 400, 500 reviews. So the reviews, for whatever weight percentage goes on that, I don't feel it's a big one. But like many of us know, getting reviews with keywords in there and all that kind of stuff, it's another way of optimizing slightly your profile, if you like. But again, we all know that a lot of reviews over the last year have been taken down and slammed and all of that kind of stuff. So getting reviews to stick is obviously a massive pain point for a lot of people. But like Darren Muzzy says there, only one piece of the puzzle, the reviews thing. So I'm not a big reviews guy. I'm sure guys who sell it will have something slightly different to say, but genuinely, I'm not saying don't buy reviews or don't get reviews or anything like that. I think it looks perfectly natural. But if I had 100 reviews and I was ranking number 1, would I be going out to buy another 100? Nah. It goes back to what I said before, or what we discussed. Do what you need to do, and that's it. Do I need another 100 reviews? Absolutely not. So if I'm putting cold hard cash into the reviews and I'm already number 1, am I buying more? Nah, I'm not. Sorry. So, and also Business Growth Ready says that's why people posted what they had for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. and snacks. 4 pointless posts. Yeah, I don't like that stuff.
Yeah, just coming up with something to post. Yeah, the stuff on the reviews, I do think that there's a minimum, and that's why I'm like, I think somebody is why I latched onto this 30s. Somebody I'd hit that in some conference or something. I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. But I do think that there is a minimum though, and beyond that, it really doesn't matter. Because of what you just said, there are people that rank, with 5 above people that have, 300.
Yeah.
The one thing though that I do think with reviews, and why I think real businesses really should try to promote and exercise get reviews, is I think it is a real solid conversion piece. So if I'm looking for somebody for a service or something that is, like I need a plumber, right? I'm going to tend to like have a higher opinion of, I see somebody who's got 1,400 4.9 reviews or something like that versus somebody who's got 20. Well, I'm probably going to call the guy who's got 1,400 reviews just because I feel like that guy's got a lot more experience probably. So from a conversion standpoint, I think it's very impactful.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think, that trust thing is needed. But like Darren says here as well, real reviews from real customers with real photos is always going to be the best. And I think it's something that you should, it does help conversion wise. People want to know that they're getting good service, but why force it with fake shit? You can even tell some of the fake names that are out there. You're just like, that's a persona. That is a fucking persona name. Any profile with 2 first names on it, Terry Jim or fucking Darren Dave, and shit like that. You're just like, come on, that's not someone's fucking name. That's really not someone's name. It's bizarre. Bizarre.
Yeah, I wonder if Darren Muzzy is a real name.
Muzzy is that's suspicious. Never heard that.
No, I've never heard that name. Muzzy.
Never heard of another Muzzy.
What the heck is that, Muzzy? Jeez.
Although Randy Roday also sounds like a porn star's name. That does not sound like a real fucking name. That's a stage name if I've ever heard it.
You never know if you've ever searched for me over in that dark world.
I don't think I ever have, but maybe I should.
Might be surprised to find. Well, the other thing with getting reviews, though, it does help in case you get a bad review. Getting more reviews to push down the bad review is critical.
Yeah, I think that's something that, like you mentioned, reputation management and stuff, you want to try and force that down. And obviously, I think most people will know 1 or 2 bad reviews out of, 100 or whatever it may be. Everyone's got some dickhead customer that's out there. So I think you wouldn't be a real business if you had everything perfect, all 5-star reviews. So, but as long as you can try and shove that one down, then it's always good to do if you can.
Yeah. All right. So moving off of GBP and thinking about local SEO, you got the GBP, you got it optimized, it's out there. Then what? What do you do next?
I think, you have to think about other GBPs potentially. How do you expand the radius? So let's say you do Ohio. Do you move to other GBPs, or do you start building out landing pages, local landing pages, without the GMB? So organic search, people look for, I don't know, fucking SEO services in the areas surrounding Ohio or wherever it may be? Of course they do. So, do you start to go and build out those areas on your local landing pages? We want more money. You've got your GBP, you've got your local traffic, things are moving well, happy days, but where does more money come from? You need to expand that radius, and whether that's with more GBPs and or more location pages, that would certainly be the next step for me. And when we talk about GBPs or local SEO, they are two very different things. A GBP, to go back a step, you're looking at citations, engagement on the GBP, you claim profile, blah, 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 blah. Whereas ranking a local page in the search engine results is not about your citations, and it's not about how many people are clicking your GBP. It's about people clicking on your page, links pointing to that page. So it's two very different things, which overall becomes local SEO. And people like yourself, Randy, as you grow as a business, you want more people. Whether that comes from nationwide or whether you go to other countries, but for most people, it's expanding on that local radius. And I think those local landing pages are the next best step to get that range of other locations, or even areas within, Ohio or wherever it may be. A lot of people do search very, very locally. And I think you're missing a massive trick by not having that on there. So there's a lot of people who do not, even for where I am in Glasgow, people don't just search Glasgow, they'll search for areas within Glasgow, especially for the likes of, plumber and stuff like that. It might be the area that person stays in. So, it's an area within Glasgow. It's not Glasgow itself, or Glasgow South, or Glasgow North, or Glasgow East or West. People search for all of that kind of stuff. So I think building that out and those local landing pages is the next best step for me.
So that's what I was wondering. So you do that on essentially that concept about kind of expanding the radius. Hey, Afrin, you do that by adding or building out additional service pages, kind of specific geo service pages. So so like in your example, Glasgow, like you're going to have Glasgow SEO, but then you may have a South Glasgow SEO, right? If that's the neighborhood, and kind of built out as well, and expand that way, expand those geographic pages is on the local website. So I get that. Question for you, because as you were talking about this, I was thinking, as you would build out and do some different things, there's all kinds of different things you can do to kind of help build more traffic out to that local service landing page on your site. Do you think when you do that, so like SEO Glasgow, and you're doing a bunch of different stuff, sending social traffic to it, sending whatever other kind of traffic to it, CTR, doing ads to that, do you think that influences the GBP ranking at all? Even though you're not even connecting it, but because I rank organically SEO Glasgow on my website, is that going to help rank my GBP?
I would say so, yeah. I can't categorically state that 100%, but if Google, remember we're playing with Google here, and if Google can see that this guy gets X amount of hits and engagement and conversions and everything else, is that going to help push your GBP up? I would imagine they're going to look at the two signals and go, yeah, this makes sense. So, you're playing the same, although it's two, like I said, it's two very different things. Obviously, it's still Google. So would someone who has a whole bunch of local rankings, would that impact your GBP? I'm not saying it's a big thing, but I would certainly say it's surely got to be taken into account and given some form of weight. Surely.
Yeah. Well, I agree. I think that's why we focus on so much of that stuff as well, like sending traffic, getting some ranking those local pages, I think is pretty critical. How about let me ask you this on, what is this? What does he say? Based reviews.
Using their own web connection, not the restaurants or business Wi-Fi. So application-based reviews, freshness help as well. Like I was saying with Slaughter earlier, he does a lot of reviews. at the fucking location. Seemed to stick a lot better. So, and even more so after doing the driving directions, it will come up, you know, it pops up after that. How was this place and all that stuff?
Right,
so
right.
Rory's into all that, and he feels that that sticks a hell of a lot better.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Well, now my mind's like, I got all kinds of questions rolling through and thinking about stuff. I was going to say this earlier, but I've had, you know, when you're talking about reviews and keeping reviews sticking, but I've had some of our clients like complain to me like, how come I'm losing reviews? These are valid reviews, and they are valid reviews from valid customers. But even some of the valid stuff has dropped, you know, over the last year, which, you know, drives my clients crazy. I'm like, I can't explain it. I don't know what the hell Google is doing, but why they would do that.
So what I've heard on that subject is that if the Google account is no longer active and no longer really doing anything, then those reviews have gone. Because I've had that as well, legitimate reviews from accounts that may longer, you know, no longer be active. So those reviews are taken down. You know, I had like 62 legit reviews. I've now got 51. You know, some of those have disappeared for one reason or another, and I think that's down to the accounts just no longer being in use, and Google have obviously purged them.
So you think that the customer, the account that the customer left a review on is no longer active, and so they like lop it. That's interesting. Well, that seems very feasible to me. So that's probably is a good explanation that I'll use for my clients. Ah, your wee one looks good. He must have just got back from school, huh?
He has, well, a couple of hours ago, but he loves YouTube. He always wants to come in and sit in. He was just peeking his head around the corner, and I'm like, get over here, because he wants to be a YouTuber when he's older, don't you?
No, I want to be an actor.
An actor?
An actor. Very nice. You guys got like the same hairstyle going on. You got the same haircut.
But apart, my daddy's hair is black.
Black or grey?
Black.
It looks a little more gray to me, but
yeah, certainly not got his hair colour. He's taking that after his mum.
Well, my mummy has the same hair as me.
She does.
But hers is longer than mine because she's a girl.
But we've got a question here, Randy.
Right.
How to get high paying local SEO clients?
High paying. Well, that's a darn good question. So one, I think high paying is going to be dependent upon your market, right? I mean, what's the competition around? What are they, you know, what can you get? I think you always try to get as much as you can. And that's probably always something that I think people short sell themselves. They want to get the client. They're like, I got to get this client. I got to get this sale. And then you're stuck delivering, you know, $200 SEO service, and you can't make any money off of it. And you're like, okay, now what do I do? So you got to think, well, what does the market bear, right? Can you charge $1,000 for local SEO, or can you only charge $750, right? So what's the competition out there? But I think there's a lot of different ways that you can get local SEO clients. And I just know, even when I started out years ago, I mean, I was doing cold calling, right? I mean, we were like calling, smiling, and dialing. Hey, how you doing? You have a business. You know, we had a script, and so we would cold call. I like doing. This is an approach that works well for me, is that I like to get involved in our local chamber of commerce and go to all of those kind of meetups and meet these local businesses. And I mean, we get a good flow of leads coming through from that source. I think is really good. You could certainly always go and do ads as well, right? So probably, I think Facebook is a good a good vehicle platform to do some local ads for, and talk about local ranking, and use it more. And think about, if you're doing an ad, use it and talk to the business owner in the terms of what's important to them, right? Talk about, hey, do you need more leads? Do you need your phones to ring more? Do you want to increase sales? Talk about that, and not about ranking for your keyword or something, because they don't care about that. They care about, can you get me more business? That's how you have to build your ad around, hit them with that. But I mean, those are just 3 things just top of mind that, boom, you got to go hit this.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff you said there makes perfect sense. Also, if you're the youngest SEO expert in India, my advice would be to you try and get people on an international level. I don't think India has a lot of people who are maybe prepared to pay, even for me in Glasgow in the UK. I would argue that there's a certain amount of money you could charge a local. Obviously in America, everything's significantly higher. And I'm not saying go after America, but sometimes you have to think out with your local community, and that's where I think in the UK, the further north you are in the UK, the less budget they have. The more you go towards London, the higher the budget, and more business savvy people seem to be, and
Right.
understand it. So I think you have to think about those things as well.
Yeah. It's farther back, dot removes, versus if I come in, then that, yeah. So I'll just sit back further. Yeah, I know that Gilo has said, that you guys over in the UK or in Scotland, that you guys, to find somebody even to pay $400 for local SEO is like really difficult.
Yeah.
Here in the States, I know people are charging $2,000 for local SEO. My market would not support 2,000, so I'm not going to ask for that. But
Yeah.
I think going international, and I hate to say go flood the U.S. for taking, but I think you do have to look at other places probably where you can get some higher turn with you. That's a challenge. What does Nerdy say there? If you were starting out again.
So would you do your name as your brand, or develop a non-associated brand, or would you build out both? I can argue both sides here, Nerdy. Building your name out as your brand, as I've done, does restrict me. So I'm going to talk about the disadvantages. Is anyone ever going to buy my brand from me, Craig Campbell SEO? No, it's not a sellable asset. Can someone buy the news guy who Brandy is trying to brand himself as? Yes, they could just take his bald head out of the picture and replace it with another news guy. I think building out a non-associated brand is probably like that. The news guy or 38 Digital Market, they're sellable assets. So when Randy's had his time, he could either pass them down to family or sell them on. Whereas, can I do that for me? No. And I do have other businesses like Links for You and stuff like that. And I didn't really think about it. I thought people buy into people. Let's do the personal brand thing. I'm going to fucking do it. I never really thought about the selling on of the asset. But for every business that we build, I do think you need to think about the long-term future and obviously the sellability of that asset. And obviously I've boobed massively by building out Craig Campbell SEO. Now, could I stop today and build out the fucking digital marketing king.com or whatever it may be? Of course I could, and I could drive a lot of that and rebuild a brand. It's not impossible for me to do it, but I am fully aware that me being able to sell Craig Campbell SEO is not something I can do. And again, you look at Brian Dean, who sold Backlinko to SEMrush. Obviously, it was a sellable asset. SEMrush will use it for education and whatever else. So I think, when you look at it there, is someone going to buy Neil Patel? Nah, because you're not Neil Patel. It's one of those things where it's going to last his lifetime, but he could change that into something else, and he may change that into something else as he gets older. So I think there's disadvantages and advantages to both. I think there's massive advantages to building out a personal brand as well. I've been fortunate enough to make decent money, work with different brands and all that kind of stuff because you want to leverage into my personal brand. So I've been able to make money as well. So I don't want to talk about just disadvantages. It's massively helped me in a lot of ways as well. People buy into people. People like, a personal brand, someone they can relate to, someone they can trust. So I think there's a lot of advantages either way in doing it. But obviously there are some disadvantages either way as well. And one of the reasons I've done the personal brand, nearly, I had an agency, and I'm just looking at that next question. And I had an agency, and I didn't really want to be this face of the brand guy, believe it or not. So I was the SEO guy in the background, and had a sales guy and all that stuff. And the sales guy decided to leave for one reason or another, and I was phoning around the clients, and they're like, "Who are you?" And I'm in a real sticky situation here. And from that day, I decided that everyone will know who I am. Whether I do the actual hands-on work or not is irrelevant. I'll make sure that everyone knows who I am, and I'm the owner, and that's why I went down the personal branding route. But as I say, it stops me from selling it. So it is what it is. So
I think it is a strategy, though, as well. So I think, I don't know, a couple of years ago, maybe even later than that, Craig, we had this exact conversation kind of just individually, you and I, which then inspired me to like, all right, I think I have to think, how do I kind of separate and build kind of an asset on our press release business and our links business? How do I build that separately from, my agency side, and make it stand out more of a sellable asset? And so hence, the birth of the news guy. And so if you look at, you like that, right? The birth of the news guy. But if you kind of look at a little bit of the transition over the last 2 years, even, of what I've been, trying to do, and I feel good about where we've gone thus far. But ultimately, it's because in the back of my mind, I'm like, I want a sellable asset. I want to be able to sell our business, my PR business, links business at some point. And I think I was more restricted by having it associated with our agency as 38 Digital Market. And plus, it doesn't really say anything about press releases. So it's kind of like, but now, I think I've increased the value pretty dramatically by doing it as the news guy. So we'll see. But I think you have to look at potentially what your end game is going to be, what it is that you want. Now, to your point, though, Craig, as well, like I have a full team on the back end that handles all of our processes and the service itself, the fulfillment side. But this is what I get excited about, though. I love being like engaging with the clients, especially the people on our PR side. I mean, just before our call, I had a quick 15-minute consultation with a guy that I met at SEO spring training, and we just talked about what his PR needs were. So I like to be involved in that engagement process so that people don't know, like, well, who the hell are you? Right? Yeah. And I think you can kind of combine them, still be involved on the client side, just even on the engagement piece, and then hand off all of the other stuff to somebody else to get it done. But Yeah, I think bottom line is I think you have to think about what's your end game. What is it that you want to do 5 years, 10 years down the road, and then let that begin to guide you.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head because, when I advised you, I was telling you the truth. I'm like, Randy, I've got nothing I can fucking sell here. Don't do it. And hopefully that's what hit home. You're like, nah, I want to potentially sell this when you're ready to sail off into retirement, whatever. So, got to think long term. But we do have one last question of the day. Can you share something about GBP verification bypass for US based listing? There is no secret bypass as such, Eman. But what I can say is go fucking try it now. Today.
Yes, today.
And it's got a lot easier for now. I don't expect that to last a lot longer. But there's no special bypass. There are people who build out citations 6 weeks prior to try and do the verification. So building citations, building trust and authority around the business before going for verification can sometimes help that slip through. But there's no special bypass button, unfortunately. However, at the moment, verification is working very, very well. That's all I can say for now. For how long, I don't know. So take action now.
Yes. Yeah, and verify with the Gmail address, I think is good, or a domain-based email. So if it's, randysplumbing.com, that's my website. If you're doing it with the website, try to verify with an email that's like randy@randys.plumbing.com. I think that helps. But definitely, if not that, then use a Gmail. And then my success from a couple of weeks ago is that then I created just a brand new Gmail, and then I went in under that profile and made the request for, the GBP. So I went in under that profile, not under my own profile. So to try to separate it all out. But yeah. And then if you have questions, go look at, we were just talking earlier, Craig just released a video last week about GBP verification. So go look on his channel for that little video. I think it was only like 3 minutes long, even. It was quick.
Oh, man. I've just been Slaughter and stuff are hassling me while I'm not on. Guys are fucking relentless. But this is a background, guys. I'm actually in Marbella. This is a background. They're saying I'm back in Glasgow. I'm saying I'm in Marbella.
You're not. You are at home,
dude. I'm in Marbella.
And you're what?
I'm in Marbella, which is in Spain.
And you are not there. You are not.
Anyway, I'm saying no more about it. But guys, before we do go, please do check out thenewsguy.com using the link below. That is Randy's digital PR service. Check it out. It comes highly recommended. And also do check out 38 Digital Market and Randy in general. If you just search for him, he's got his own channel and everything else. So do check him out. And you're back next week? No, are you away?
Oh no, I am. Well, you and Holly were going to be on next week without me. So the next 2 weeks, I'm out of circulation. We're going to Iceland. So yeah. So I'm going to be in Iceland next week, and then we're flying back that Monday, which I think is the 1st. I think July 1st, and so I won't be able to connect at all for sure then. So yeah, Iceland, here I come.
Yeah, so we'll see you next week with just me and Holly, and we'll see Randy in a few weeks' time. But hope you all enjoyed it, and we will be back at the same time next week, everyone.
All right.
See you later.
All right.